What is up? Thank you for coming to my channel, Prison POV. And as always, nothing but the utmost love and respect for my joiners and for the point of view crew. The love is real. Believe that. Speaking of love, I really enjoyed that last video I made on the skinheads, where they go, breaking it down. Making that video kind of forced me to revisit my teenage years. And while there though, in my head, thinking about my teenage years, reliving things, I thought of another group, clique, gang, that was very prevalent back in the day. And to date, they're pretty much just wiped off the face of the earth. You never see them or hear about them no more. Who you talking about, Splinter? I'm talking about the suicidals. What happened to those dudes? But let me just stop right there and say, henceforth, I'm going to be referring to those dudes as either suis boys, or ST. I'm not going to call them by their name, because if I said their name over and over again, I believe that YouTube would end up sending a crisis team over here. Be that as it may, brother, the suis. What happened to those dudes? And I actually know, so it's not going to be a guessing game, but it's going to be interesting getting to the bottom of it. If you care to join me, let's do this. So those dudes, man, what are they? What is ST? It is a punk rock gang. Pure and simple. A hardcore, active punk rock gang. They have a twist though. The thing about them, they dress like straight up cholos. Straight up cholo look, bro. One of their main parts of their get-up, a staple of what they would wear when they're out and about, homeboy, is that blue ST bandana. They all rock that blue bandana. They got their hat with the bill flipped up, banging their set. They got their Mad Doggers, their Lokes on. A Pendleton flannel with just one button. Underneath that, of course, would be the slingshot or the wife beater. Let me know in the comments if you even know what I'm talking about and what you would call it. And of course, for shoes, they got on the winos. Now, they wear Docs like everybody else. I mean, everybody, the punk rockers, I mean. Docs, Converse, Vans, but no. The winos is a freaking straight up, homeboy, a thing that you'd catch the suey boys wearing all the time. So be that as it may, man. And let me say this. Back in the day, they were about 20 deep in Bakersfield, and they're the cream of the crop when it came to crazy. They were on another level, almost to the point of being intimidating and a tiny bit scary. But keep in mind, I was 14, 15, 16 years old when I was running around these dudes, and homeboy, they were all the way with the business. Now, if you've never heard of the dudes, the suis, ST, of that gang or clique, perhaps you've heard of the band Suicidal Tendencies. If you heard of the band Suicidal Tendencies, pretty much the band and the gang, you can go so far as to say they're one and the same. Two peas in a pod. They're both created by one dude, Psycho Mike Muir. Psycho Mike Muir came up with the band Suicidal Tendencies, and from that derived the gang ST. But before he had the band Suicidal Tendencies, he had a band called XL, and the clique he was in then was called Mercenaries. So you could tell, was he not only musically minded and gifted, all that. Not only musically minded, but also he had like a penchant for gangbanging, didn't he? It seems like he was all the way down to come up with a clique and a gang and just get some people together. And in fact, someone asked him that in an interview, Psycho Mike Muir, why is it that you went somewhat of the gang route? And he said, because I'm from Venice Beach. I can't quote him verbatim, but he basically said, I'm from Venice Beach. It's on and cracking around there. It's popping. And if you're not in the gang, you're like going to be the only one. Because everyone's clicking up, forming up. And that's just how it goes around here. So, dude, Suicidal Tendencies, hardcore. The gang and the Suey boys came from it. And it's more than just, it's not bands. Like, you know the band Slipknot? Their hardcore fans are called maggots. It's not that situation. ST, they were just not like the fan club. No, it was legitimate, active, hardcore gang boy. Now, let me tell you about some interactions with some of those dudes some interactions I've had with some of those dudes. First, let me say that I was a runaway. Pretty much by choice. But what I could do is I could finagle. My dad would think I was with my mom. My mom would think I was at my dad. I stayed with my aunts and uncles. no one was really keeping track. I didn't have to go to school, take tests, get grades, none of that. I would just run away and I'd go to concerts. As a punk rocker, me and my homies, we would get some money together and get a Greyhound, boom, go to LA all the time. San Fernando Valley. Man, come on, Splinter. Slow down, count to 10, deep breath. San Fernando Valley would be all over LA going to shows. Well, one time I found myself in Pomona. It was at Pomona. And they had a park there that a lot of punk rockers and runaway and homeless kids hung out and skinheads and suis. It was a pretty cool little park. I'd be hanging out there all the time. What was crazy though, is bro, I felt like I was being hunted. I was very nervous because I had a pair of Doc Martens and they ripped. They ripped at the bottom a little bit and you could see some white because the leather came separated from the sole. So I put some black shoe polish in there and I sold them to the store for like $15. It was like a pawn shop that buy Doc Martens and that sort of thing. Well, my friends would go near the store or buy it. The store owner told them, hey, your friend, Kris, I want him. They're like, you want him? Like, yeah, I want him. Tell him I want him. Okay, so when they see me, they're like, hey, that dude wants you. And I knew I sold those boots to him. I knew he'd probably be mad when he found out they were ripped. But is this weird, the language he used? I remember being tripped out and they're like, hey, that dude wants you. I go, wants me? Like, wants to talk to me? Like, no, he said he wants you. Like, did he look mad? Did he look happy? He wants me like how? Like, what do you mean? Like, I was thinking I got to get the heck out of Pomona because it just tripped me out. He wants you. Yikes. So I'm sitting there at this punk rock park. Some people just told me that. I'm like, I'm getting a ticket out of there. And we're listening to music. And up walks this suicidal dude. And he's got his old lady with him. And I'm thinking to myself afterwards, am I the only one that can read people? I mean, I can read people. If you come walking up and you're mad or you have an attitude, a chip on your shoulder, you just came from an argument, I'm going to be able to pick up on that. If you're happy, if you just won the lottery, if someone just gave you a car, if you just found $1, whatever the case may be, like I could pick up without you saying a word, kind of like where you're at in your head. Am I the only one? I feel like it sometimes. Because this suey dude walked up with his old lady, and right away, I knew dude was in a bad mood. In hindsight, I'm thinking, you know what? He's probably fighting this old lady. You know what kind of negative energy can come from that? Energy? You know what kind of negative energy could come from fighting with a dude and a chick, homeboy? I want no part of that. Have you ever been around your homeboy and his old lady and they start fighting? Charlie Holmes, it's not the business. So they come walking up. There's definitely bad vibes. And not only that, this dude's coming across and just crazy. All the way crazy. It's like, this dude just seemed like a straight up, I don't know, bro. Put it this way, I was all the way in my lane. I couldn't even really tell you what they looked like, but I mean, I can tell you what color their shoes were. Because I was just like this. I'm paying no mind. And there was a radio on. And the skinhead that was there, sitting on a bench, got up, went over to where the suey dude was, standing by his old lady. He got about this far away from dude's old lady and just started like dancing. Like he was dancing with dude's chick. ST dude's chick. And I was just like, oh, I knew it was a major mistake. I want to roll up the window. Dude, something's getting ready to go down. And sure enough, that dude pulled out his stiletto and plugged him 9 times. Dude, it affected me to the point of PTSD. I was already tripping, so dude's like, I want him. And now this, I'm like, whoa, call my dad. Give me a ticket. Pronto, stat. And I did go to a Greyhound bus station nearest one to call my dad for a ticket. I shook the spot. Plugged him 9 times. Flight or, I can't even say it. Fright or flight? I froze, homeboy. Is that one of the options? I remember being like, I seen that dude later. So I know he got stuck 9 times. And I asked him, what were you thinking? He said, dude, I thought we were friends. That's my homeboy. Like, I couldn't believe it even went down like that, he said. Camera was a little crooked. With the OCD, no way could I let it ride. I paused and staring it out. Still kind of crooked. That was bad. How about this dude, though? I went to a mentor show. There was a mosh pit. We're moshing. We're having a good time. All of a sudden, you see the mosh pit kind of disintegrate. And people were kind of like doing this number. And it was something's up with the mosh pit. I myself even stepped back like, what's going on? Did someone fall down? You see this dude. He's the only one keeping the circle going in the mosh pit. And he's got blood on him. It's like, damn, did he get hurt? I think he got hit in his nose and it came down. But as he gets closer, you see razor blades in his hands. And then he notices his shirt's cut. And actually he's cut. And you put 2 together and you're like, whoa, I think dude sliced himself. And he's a straight up ST and a crazy one at that. So he'd slice himself. And not only that, he's swinging to other people. And it's like, dude, I thought instantly of a block console for him, the blender. I mean, it looked like a straight up blender, homeboy, and probably just as dangerous. I want like we're just here to like mosh for fun. You want to mosh for real, huh? Dude, we didn't. What kind of moshing is this? This is extreme moshing. So everyone like backed up, and then a couple people got the cojones and the balls to confront him and push up on him and said, "Dude, we're trying to have fun here at this show. Put those away." And he threw them in his mouth. Ah, that's a cool place for him, blender. And then every once in a while he'd stick them out like a tongue and wiggle it around. I guess just to let us know, hey, they're still there. I'm telling you, those dudes were nothing nice. They're off the charts on the crazy scale. But let me tell you about some dudes that I know more personally than just dudes I've seen. Some dudes from town. How about Danger and Drew? These dudes, no one wanted to see them coming. They're bullies, if I keep it all the way real. They would show up at our parties, take their hats off and go person to person. Like I said, we're teenagers. These dudes in their 20s. Danger's already been to prison. Back when prison was just like, whoa, ooh, he's been to prison. Now they'll let anyone in, it seems like. Back then, and they'd take their hat and expect people to put money in it. And they're just bullies. They would start fights and take off on people. And dude, get a bad vibe. In fact, I ended up getting knocked out by Danger. I don't want to go into that story. I told it before because I went to do a beer run. This dude was, bro. And him and Drew always kicked it and ran around. Drew drove this Suzuki, one of them, not a Ninja, a Samurai, one of them Jeep things. But what's cool, what I'm getting at, is they're buddies. You'd see them kicking it together. But more often than not, Danger would straight turn on Drew and beat his ass. It's like, dude, I mean, homeboy, I mean, some people they're just so full of violence, anything will set them off. I've been in that situation. So, hey, dude, no, homeboy. But I used to like it when I'd see Drew with a big old black guy and know that his buddy got down on him. I was like, yeah, that's what you get. And dude, let me say this too, man. Back in the day, there was 3 skinheads. Eddie, Adam, the 2 dudes from my last story, AWS, a dude named Matt, and then 2 suicidals. Jimbo and a dude named Ripper. Ripper's no longer with us. Rest in peace. Those 5 kicked in the door with bats to this black skinhead, this traditional skinhead's pad. There was a couple of chicks there, and they beat on him with bats. And they got away. The dude, Jimbo, was one of the most frightening, scary, intimidating people I've ever met in my life. He had a big old pentagram on his hand, and I just want nothing to do with the dude. I'd been around him, and bro, just something about him was frightening. And then he did that, and I remember seeing him on the front page of the paper, and the big old thing on that tattoo on his hand, like, who gets a pentagram other than Satan's boyfriend on your hand? Like, I thought it was bizarre, bro. Later on in life, though, I ended up bumping into this dude. Because I'm at a house. My punk rock homeboy slinging dimes of Garaga. I'm there running security for him. I got his back so no one could push up. It's not his pad or his dimes. He's there staying there and he's dealing for somebody. And like I said, I'm there and I have his back. But my homeboy decided to leave. He didn't want to push the dimes no more. He left. But I stayed. And then the dude whose pad it was, the dude whose dimes it was, called someone else in to work out of his pad. And it was that dude, Jimbo. And now when I seen him, I was like, dude, I can't believe I was scared of this dude. But then again, I was a teenager and he was not. Man, I just commenced to punking him, if I can keep it all the way real. Spence up. Because he tried to punk me. He tried to roll up in there straight up, tell me, shake the spot, kick rocks. I said, dude, you couldn't kick me out of here with a steel-toe boot, homeboy. I ain't going nowhere. And just, it went from there. I stayed, but I remember thinking, this dude just give me nightmares. Homie. My ring light is disintegrating and falling apart mid-video. I should post a picture of it. I got it duct taped together. I could replace it, sure, but I love it. Green Eye Jim and I gave it to me for my birthday last year, and homeboy has sentimental value. Let me tell you about this dude, and then I'm going to tell you what happened to the suis. There's this dude who has suicidal blasts on his forehead. Hella big. But this dude is one of the high-ranking member of NLR. In fact, the dude in charge, the main dude in NLR in Bakersfield, it's his right-hand man. Suey, real big across his forehead. This dude is crazy, bro. In fact, he's no longer with us. He was so crazy. He kicked up so much dust. People just said, we got to get rid of him. It happens like that. If you're pumped too much fear into people, dude, they'll get rid of you. And that's what happened to him. He went around just robbing everybody. His neck's totally blasted. He's blasted all the way down. He big, he ain't got no hair. He's buff, and he's just, And I asked him one time, I said, dude, what's up with that on your forehead? Used to be Sue or what? And he's like, no, it's my nickname. I think to myself, your nickname? I never heard you introduce yourself as that nickname. Never heard anybody call you by that nickname. Your name's Joey. So what? But then he's telling a story later. He's like, yeah, I got out and I couldn't get no one to go do a 211 with me. I wanted to go hit the slick and no one wanted to ride with me. I'm thinking, I wonder why? Because you're, you know what I'm saying, craziest person ever. And he's like, I couldn't even get Danger to go. And I was like, Danger? I know who that is. That's a Suey. That's a dude from ST. So if you're running around with him, kicking it with him, that leads me to believe that is way more than a nickname. I'm sure he was back in the day, but when shit hit the fan, a lot of those dudes turned into NLR. Like this one dude I know, porn star. My homeboy, his older brother, was a Suey dude. He was crazy too, man. And then I seen him years later, and he didn't recognize me as being his brother's friend, but I recognized him. He introduced himself to me as porn star from NLR. I was like, I know who you are. You're old school Suey. Here's what happened to him, though. Here's what happened to them. In prison, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, CDC, in prison in California, this suicidal dude named Fish tattooed on a black guy. I've heard a couple different stories. I heard the black dude was a suicidal, and that Fish, so much for not saying that name, Fish was one of his homies, and the Fish was tattooing the ST symbol on him or something, and then I heard that no, it was just some dude, and the Fish was trying to get his hustle on, just tattooed on some dude, whatever, so he could charge him some store and make some money. Either way, a white dude in prison tattooed on a black dude is a no-go for sure, bro. Fish got removed ASAP. And I think up to that point, the Sueys, they come into prison, they kind of flew under the radar. I'm not saying they denied anything, but no one put two and two together that this is actually an interracial gang. I mean, the guitar player, Rocky George, one of the main dudes, obviously, if you're in the band, you're in the gang, he's a black dude. They have a lot of Mexicans, Hispanics, they have a lot of black dudes, a lot of whites. It's interracial, totally. Suicidal is just everybody. No one even really realized that, I think, until Fish tattooed that black guy. And then it's like, wait a minute. So these dudes they got a green light put on them. Just for being multiracial. That's what happened. Fish got them all in trouble. And after that, like I said, you just quit seeing them. You quit hearing about them. I mean, where are they now? The dudes I used to know, like I said, they turned into lowriders. You never see them. I know there's a Suicidal Tendencies cover band. And so I'm sure when they do shows, people show up with the bandanas. Like someone made a good point. Skinheads used to be 18, now they're 45. The Sueys used to be 20 years old, now they're like 45. You're going to go to a concert, a punk rock concert, and you're going to probably see some dudes dressed all chilled out, old school Sueys. But as far as being a presence, running amok, out there, hanging out as a clique, they're not around, homeboy. They're not around. A lot of it had to do with Fish. Got that green light on them for tattooing on a black dude in the pen. With that said, I'm going to cut the string and let it fly. Peace. And wait a minute, though. Wait. Back up, Splinter. Dude, I think we're going to keep it rolling. If this video does well, you guys respond to it. I have yet another group I'm going to cover tomorrow. Because, dude, you know what they say? People with small feet have... No, they don't say it. You know what they say? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Dude, it's not broke. This program's running smooth. Let's do the damn thing. Cut the string, let it fly. Peace.